For all the latest from the world of motoring, hit that subscribe button and stay connected. The Royal Enfield 650 twins have changed the way people look at the brand and the company. The Interceptor 650, with its great value proposition and the simple yet classy design, is the favorite twin. Today we are joined by Aniruddha, who has moved on to the Interceptor from a Himalayan to share his ownership experience.
Hey Aniruddha, good morning. It's great to have you here, and I love this color on the Interceptor. It looks really beautiful. So, I believe you had the Himalayan before. So, how did you choose this bike, and could you take us through your decision process?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. Yes, I had the Himalayan. So the initial the reason why I wanted to switch is because Himalayan is more of a anywhere go kind of a bike where you can take it anywhere. You can go to a little bit off-road terrains, and one of the drawbacks, if I want to call it that way, was the highway cruising speeds.
Okay.
So it is not at all a very favorable for highway cruising. So I wanted a machine that would could cruise at least at triple digit, like at least 100 and effortlessly. So that I couldn't find a bike, and also I had budget constraints, so I wanted something sub 5 lakh category. And when I heard the news about the Interceptor coming out with the twin cylinder, especially the parallel twin, was very exciting to me, and I wanted to try it out. But then, having said the different experiences with the Royal Enfield Himalayan,
Did you have the BS3 or the BS1?
I had the BS3.
Oh, so then
Yeah, so there's like outcry about different issues being reported, but I was lucky that I didn't have much issues with my bike except a few niggles. So I was a little conscious whether I should go again for a Royal Enfield, so that was always going in my mind. But after I took a test ride of this, I was like blown away. I wanted to buy it. So that's how I made this decision.
So how has your experience been so far with it?
It's been really nice. I would say, especially the engine. It's absolutely no vibrations. The Royal Enfield are famous for their vibrations, so there are no much vibrations on this bike, and it has got slipper clutch, and also shifting the gears, the other dynamics of the bikes are really good.
So since we're on the topic of engine itself, let's talk about the performance. So what speeds do you cruise at, and
so basically this does as per the manual, it can go up to 170. Okay. So I haven't taken the bike to that extent, but it does effortlessly 110, 120 without any issues. On the sixth gear, you are around a little below 5,000 RPM. You're doing 120.
Okay, no issues with that.
No issues with that.
And any heating issues?
So that is a very good question. I mean, in Bangalore traffic, I would say I had the Himalayan. It used to heat up a lot in Bangalore traffics, but this being a parallel twin with 650cc, it is really manageable. It doesn't heat up. You feel the heat a little bit on summer days, but in general, the heat is very manageable.
So we talked about the engine performance. So how about the performance in the city? How about the gear shifts? And do you feel that in city during traffic, do you feel that it's a bit of a struggle? Or
I would say it is very nimble and flickable. At the same time, one thing I've noticed is the steering rake is a little sharp, so you can't take very sharp negotiations. You can do it between cars, but if you have to take a turn and all, it takes a little more space than normal bikes. So that's one thing I have observed.
Okay, and how about the gear shifts and all?
The gear shifts are, it has got, so each gear, because of the torque, so you can easily cruise along or chuck along in third gear, second gear, no issues.
And Royal Enfields are known for heavy clutches. So how
this one is a really one because it comes with slipper clutch.
Okay.
So it's very easy, and downshifts and upshifts are very, very, very smooth. So no issues with that.
Yeah. And let's talk about now. You take it touring, obviously. Yeah. So, and what sort of tank range are you getting?
So you can keep it plus minus 250 kilometers a tank, but you can go up to 300. But because it's a FI engine, it's not recommended to go so low on fuel. So if you take an average of 25 kilometers, which pretty much easily you get it, even if you are screwed at about 100, 120, you will get a average kilometers of 25 to a liter.
25 to a liter. Okay.
To a liter you will get.
So this bike has got a beautiful sound. So I'm sure you're enjoying it.
Yeah, especially if you take on to the hilly areas where the sound echoes a lot, it sounds fantastic. If you go a little bit throttle on the hills, it's amazing.
Okay, now since we are at hilling, let's talk about in the hilly area. Let's talk about the handling. So how does this bike feel? We test rode it earlier, and it felt like it's a bit heavy, but still it's a lot of fun. In the twisty. So how's your experience?
So I recently went to Kohli Hills and I took this bike. I wanted to say because how it behaves on the corners, and I must say this with Pirelli tires. These are really sticky tires, and you get great feedback on these tires. And I was very confident, and with the Bibri brakes, you get more confidence to lean. And the best part is even with the twin exhaust. There are very rare chances you will scrape the foot pegs. But yes, if you lean to the max, it will scrape. But other than that, it can take good angles on the hills.
And does it feel heavy when you're pushing?
No, when you're riding, you don't feel anything.
No, it's absolutely.
It's when you stand still, that's when you feel the bike.
So then you're talking about the Pirelli tires, which are really good, but then these are not tubeless as well. So.
No, these are tubeless tires, but tube because it comes with spokes. I wish it come with proper tubeless setup because it has spoke wheels. So what I've noticed is even though it comes with Pirelli tubeless tires, but it is tube for obvious reason it's spokes. But I have seen that Royal Enfield will soon come with alloy wheels, but I don't know
on
when.
This version is
on this
okay,
version.
That would be absolutely lovely.
Yeah. So one of the things is I would like to mention is because it's a high-speed bike, the suspension setup is very stiff on this. So on good roads, on open highways, it's absolutely pleasure. You won't feel anything. But on broken roads, this is almost like breaking your back. It's so stiff, and our Indian roads, as we know, Bangalore roads, it's full of potholes. So you have to be very careful with that. And that's one thing.
So then that will be difficult even with the pillion. And
the pillion, the seat is also not very long, so that way I almost take up 2/3 of the seat almost. So only 1/3 is remaining. So once I took my friend, he was almost sitting on the grab rail, so he didn't have space to sit. And the other thing is these silencers are so spread wide. You have to literally climb up on the bike, otherwise you will end up burning your leg. So it's very risky on this part. So it's all like a solo bike, better, with the risky with.
And I see even the pillion foot pegs are quite high.
Quite high, yeah. You literally have put your legs all the way up and sit. It's a very awkward position if you ask me.
So coming to the handling part, you're absolutely fine with it, even though while riding you don't feel the weight.
Yeah. So
then let's move on to the braking. We talked about it briefly before, but how do you feel the braking is?
So I had the Himalayan. The brakings in Himalaya were terrible. It had no confidence. You have to be completely on your intuitions. But on this, you can be like it will stop on a dime. It is very confidence, very progressive. It does not scare you that it is going to skid or anything. And with the dual channel ABS, you have always confidence.
So late braking also, even with all the weight,
it's fantastic. Yeah. So this is the first Royal Enfield. I mean, I can say that we by far has the best brake so far.
Okay. And coming to the actual riding comfort, the riding position, how do you feel it is?
So one of the things right after which I didn't realize when I took the test drive was the handle position. I being a 5 feet 11 inches height, I mean I was finding issues with my hand, little bit pain, basically elbows paining. So what I did was I put risers.
Okay.
So after putting the risers, I am really comfortable. The next obvious thing is the seats. The initial versions I heard that they came with a softer seat, but this is much more firmer. So even though it is not the best, I would say, but you can easily do up to an hour or 60 kilometers of straight continuous ride without any fatigue. Yeah.
And then when you're taking touring, so how does your luggage fit and things like that?
So I haven't put any accessories. So Royal Enfield has some of these standard accessories where you could put like not panniers but soft panniers you could put. And I usually use like a Viatara tank bag, which can be also used as a tail bag with a bungee pair of ropes I tie. That's how I take mine.
So no issues in the carrying. Even if you have a saddle bag, a lot of issues would be there with the silencer.
Right. So so I mean you can't obviously take the bigger saddlebags because it might touch the softer ones which Royal Enfield provides with the saddle stays. I think they're kind of okay. Kind of.
So owning any bike, most important thing is service experience and how these guys respond to your
Yeah.
issues. So how has your experience been with the service centers?
So it's been, I won't say it's bad, it was good. Coming back to the obvious question of ownership on service. So I did only the first service so far. In first service, they basically comes at 500 kilometers. They
Okay.
change your engine oil, the engine oil and filter, and do basic checkups on your brakes and the various nuts and bolts to check they are tight. So because this has a bigger engine and the oil sum is bigger on this at almost 3 liters,
Okay.
so the majority of a bill will be the oil,
Oil.
which is around roughly 2,400 to 500.
Okay.
And then there is the oil filter charge, and they don't charge you labor because it's free. So it comes around roughly 2,500 to 3,000 rupees.
And coming to the maintenance part, you were saying that you had some issues with the chain loop.
Yeah, so one of the things I noticed is that I usually lube the chain every 500 kilometers, but this time it was little bit dry. I could see the moist, but it was not absolutely lubed. So I was feeling some vibrations. But today morning when I came out, after cleaning the bike and lubing the chain, it was like very smooth. So I think it's very important for a such capacity bike to keep your chains always lubed. So
Very good
it's very frictionless.
Okay.
So it gives you more comfortable cruising.
So it's been about 6 to 8 months of ownership. And
Yeah.
have you faced any issues that you would want to talk about?
Well, trust me, knock on wood, no issues so far. It's been absolutely pleasure so far. People do have reported, I have seen some of the forums, issues about batteries not starting, and they identified there was battery issues.
Okay.
So those were replaced by the company.
And if you were to change a few things about this bike, what would that be?
I would say most of the people have highlighted are the foot pegs. I got used to it, but when you initially start with the foot pegs, really come your way when you're trying to maneuver the bike on a parking speed. The next obvious thing would be the handles. They are okay for a touring, but this being like a Bonneville style, a naked bike, that's always there. I mean, you can always work on the handles. And the next thing would be the seat.
Okay.
Even though the seats are okay, I mean, with the profile it looks nice, but I would prefer a more comfortable seat on this.
Okay. And I've seen you've done some changes to the mirrors, etc.
Right. So the stock mirrors which come, they are very basic quality and they don't give you enough visibility.
Okay.
So these are actually Royal Enfield standard accessories, even though a little expensive I would say, but the finishing and all, as you see, is very good, and also the mirror quality is very, very good. I mean, very clear.
It doesn't vibrate.
It doesn't vibrate. That's the main thing, because these are CNC cut material, and it's
They look pretty good.
They're very sturdy.
Okay.
So even at you're doing high acceleration and all, they will not vibrate at all. So it's very nice.
And finally, one question is, how are the headlights? A lot of people serious concentration while touring.
Yes. So yeah, if you're touring at night and you're doing triple digits, which is not safe, but I would say they are just about average. A pair of auxiliaries will do good.
Good.
Yeah.
Right. So thank you, Aniruddha. It's been a great pleasure having you here. And we have this lovely bike, and congratulations on it, and wish you a lot of safe miles ahead.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful. Thank you.